They say the mind is a battlefield, but it's more than that. It's the command center of your destiny. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you experience, all of it passes through the filter of your mind before it ever becomes real. And yet, most people never once question who's in control of that filter. They hand it over to the news, to trends, to childhood wounds, to strangers on the internet, and they wonder why their life feels like a storm they didn't summon. But here's the truth, no one tells you. You don't rise in life by chance, you rise by command. And command begins in the mind. Look around, every great monument of human achievement began as an invisible thought. Every skyscraper was once a sketch. Every masterpiece was once a fleeting vision. Every billionaire was once a broke kid with an idea. The difference wasn't luck. It was mastery over themselves, over their doubts, over their distractions. They didn't let their mind wander like a lost dog. They trained it, focused it, disciplined it until it became a blade sharp enough to cut through circumstance. If you cannot control your mind, you will never control your outcomes, because your actions are puppets and your thoughts are the strings. You pull the wrong string, you get the wrong result. You focus on what you fear, you grow it. You focus on what you lack, you multiply it. But you focus on power, direction, vision, and suddenly your world begins to mirror that. There is no freedom without mental sovereignty. None. You want success? Control your attention. You want peace? Control your reactions. You want transformation? Control the story you tell yourself every day. The mind will believe anything you tell it. Anything. It doesn't care if it's true, it only cares if it's repeated. You tell it you're worthless long enough, and it will shape a life to prove you right. You tell it you were born for more, and it will conspire to make it real. The mind is both the prison and the key. But don't confuse control with suppression. This isn't about silencing every emotion. It's about ruling them. You are the king, you are the queen. Your thoughts are your court. They do not rule you unless you let them. Every time you feel yourself spiraling into anxiety or comparison or doubt, stop. Ask yourself, who's running this show right now? Me or my programming? Because make no mistake, we are all programmed. From birth, from society, from school, from parents, from trauma. But programming is not fate. The brain is not a statue. It's clay. And every day you get to choose what shape it takes. Every habit, every thought pattern, every belief, it's moldable. It's changeable. If and only if you take the wheel. Discipline is the steering wheel of the mind. Not motivation, not hype, not fleeting inspiration. Discipline, you don't wait until you feel like it. You train your mind to act even when you don't. That's where the power lives. That's where the transformation begins. When Thomas Edison failed 0 times to invent the light bulb, he didn't give in to discouragement because his mind was already conditioned to see failure as feedback. That's mental control. When Helen Keller, blind and deaf, still found a way to write, speak, and inspire millions, that was a woman who refused to let her mind be caged by her body. Control doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes it looks like waking up early when your bed whispers your name. Sometimes it looks like saying no to distractions that feel better than your goals. Sometimes it's walking alone because your standards made you outgrow your circle. But every time you choose what's right over what's easy, you win a battle in the war for your mind. And make no mistake, it is a war. You are at war with laziness, with doubt, with fear, with the parts of you that whisper, you'll never change. And every morning you rise and move forward anyway. You declare victory not out loud, but in action. But the war doesn't end in a day. It's fought in the quiet moments, in the pause between stimulus and response, in the second where anger tempts you and peace invites you, in the instant where you could gossip or grow, complain or create, drift or decide. That's the arena where champions are made. Because champions aren't born, they're built in silence, in the grind, in the repetition, in the discipline of thought. The mind loves patterns. Feed it chaos. and it creates more chaos. Feed it clarity, and it creates alignment. That's why clarity is one of the highest forms of mental control. When you know what you want, everything changes. Distractions become obvious, decisions become easier, your energy becomes a laser. But most people never sit down long enough to ask, what do I really want? They chase shadows. They mimic others. They run toward goals that don't even belong to them. Controlling your mind means cutting through the noise. It means looking yourself in the eye and asking, is this my dream or someone else's expectation? Because the most dangerous prison is the one you don't realize you're in. You want power? Start there. You want power? Start there. Start with clarity. Strip away the noise. Peel back the layers of what you've been told, what you've inherited, what you've absorbed without question. Ask yourself, what is mine? What do I believe? What kind of life do I want to build? What kind of person do I want to become? And then decide. Decide with finality, because indecision is mental slavery. Nothing drains the mind faster than constantly questioning your own direction. When you control your mind, you stop living on autopilot. You stop being a product of your past, and you start becoming the architect of your future. Control begins with stillness, with silence, with observation. You cannot command what you do not first understand. You must learn to watch your thoughts like a witness, not a victim. Step back. Observe. Listen to how you speak to yourself. Watch the loops, the patterns, the justifications, and then call them out. Question them. Don't let old fears dress up as wisdom. Don't let comfort masquerade as peace. Don't let limitation pretend it's logic. The mind is not your enemy, it's your servant. But only if you make it so. The moment you begin to observe your thoughts, instead of reacting to them, that is the moment you begin to gain control. That space between thought and action, that breath, that pause, it's where your freedom lives. That's what the Stoics understood. That's what Marcus Aurelius knew when he wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. They didn't avoid hardship. They ruled their response to it. They trained their minds to stay still while the world burned around them, because control isn't about avoiding storms. It's about anchoring yourself so deeply that the storm cannot move you. But anchoring takes training. It takes repetition. No one walks into a gym once and walks out transformed. Your mind is no different. You must train it, daily, relentlessly, because the world will train it for you if you don't. The algorithm will decide your attention. The media will hijack your emotions. The past will write your future. Unless you take it back, take back your mornings. Take back your self-talk. Take back your inner dialogue. Reclaim the space in your mind that you've rented out to fear, comparison, and criticism. You do that by setting new terms, new standards, new commands. Every morning when you wake up, you get to choose chaos or clarity, reaction or creation, control or surrender. And no, it's not easy. It was never meant to be. Controlling your mind isn't about removing every negative thought. It's about rising above them. It's about meeting fear with awareness, doubt with curiosity, pain with presence. It's about standing still when every part of you wants to run. When Nelson Mandela walked out of prison after 27 years, he could have left bitter, broken, consumed by hatred. But he didn't. He walked out a free man, not just physically, but mentally. He said, as I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. That's control. Controlling your mind means choosing forgiveness over resentment, not because the other person deserves it, but because you do. Because mental peace is worth more than emotional revenge. It means choosing vision over validation, knowing that applause is a drug that weakens the disciplined mind. It means choosing solitude over noise, because growth doesn't need a crowd. It means doing the thing anyway, especially when no one's watching, especially when it hurts, especially when the results haven't shown up yet. That's the mark of mastery. And hear this, controlling your mind doesn't mean you don't fall. It means you don't stay there. It means when fear grips you, you don't make a home in it. When doubt whispers, you don't hand it a microphone. When life knocks you down, you don't make it your identity, you rise. Again and again, with eyes forward and hands steady. Because the one thing no one can ever take from you is your ability to choose how you think. And that choice, that's where the revolution begins. Not outside, inside, quiet, private, unseen by the world. But make no mistake, when you change your mind, you change your life. Not instantly, but inevitably. And that's what this is about. Not hype, not quick fixes, not chasing fleeting dopamine hits of positivity, but forging a mind so strong it cannot be bent, so clear it cannot be manipulated, so focused it slices through distractions like a blade. A mind like that doesn't just survive, it leads. So lead yourself. Lead your thoughts. Take the throne back from fear. Stop negotiating with weakness. Stop renting your identity to external chaos. You are not your moods. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are the watcher of all of it, the one behind the curtain, the captain of the ship. Now act like it, because the world will reflect what you project. And your projection begins in the mind, not your words, not your image, not even your actions, but the beliefs that drive them. The deep, unspoken convictions etched into the architecture of your thoughts. You want to know what you really believe? Look at what you tolerate. Look at how you speak to yourself when you fail. Look at what you do when no one's watching. That's the real you. That's the mental blueprint that controls your life, whether you know it or not. But here's the beauty. Blueprints can be redrawn. Stories can be rewritten. Programs can be recoded. And the moment you realize that is the moment you begin to live by design, not default. But you have to fight for it. Because your mind is not neutral ground. It's a battlefield. And every day it's under siege. By fear, by distraction, by addiction, by past conditioning screaming, you can't, you won't, you never do. And every time you let those voices pass unchallenged, you reinforce the cage. But every time you interrupt the script, even once you weaken it, you say, not this time. You say, that's not who I am anymore. You say, I don't need that thought to be true. And that's how you regain power. Not in one loud moment of victory, but in 1,000 quiet moments of resistance. You push back, you question, you replace, you rewire. Not perfectly, not all at once, but relentlessly. This is what it means to control your mind. It's not about becoming a robot. It's about becoming a conscious human. One who doesn't just feel, but decides. One who doesn't just react, but responds with intention. And if you want to know how deep this can go, look at the legends. Steve Jobs, obsessive about focus. Not 100 things, just a few, done with excellence. He trained his mind to say no to distractions, to noise, to mediocrity. Oprah, raised in poverty, abused, overlooked, but she refused to let the world write her story. She reclaimed it, with awareness, with intention, with a mind that said, I will rise no matter what. Abraham Lincoln, battling depression, political failure, betrayal, but he mastered the inner war before he ever won the external one. He didn't let emotion dictate his decisions. He let principle rule them. And that's the common thread. Not talent, not perfect circumstances, but relentless mental discipline. And make no mistake, discipline isn't about punishing yourself. It's about honoring yourself. It's saying, I deserve a life that reflects my highest self, not my lowest habits. It's saying, I don't chase mood swings, I build mood muscle. Because moods lie, feelings fade, but vision endures. When you control your mind, you don't need hype to move. You move because your identity demands it. And that's the next level when control isn't just what you do, it's who you are. It becomes embedded, baked in, automatic, Not because it's easy, but because it's trained. You train your mind like a warrior trains for battle, daily, with purpose, with repetition. You don't wait for life to get easier, you get stronger. You build grit, you build presence, you build calm under fire. And when the storms come, as they always do, you don't crumble. You center, you focus, you lead, because your mind isn't a victim anymore. It's a weapon, sharpened, forged, ready. So sharpen it every morning. Before the world tells you who you are, decide for yourself. Before the chaos of the day floods in, center yourself in truth. Don't check your phone, check your soul. Don't scroll, sit still. Don't react, choose. You want peace? Start with presence. You want success? Start with vision. You want change? Start with thought. And then move. Not with frenzy, but with clarity. Not with fear, but with faith. Not with noise, but with knowing. That's the power of a controlled mind. It moves quietly, but it changes everything, because when you control your mind, you control your words, you control your time, you control your energy, you control your life. And in a world addicted to reaction, the one who responds with intention becomes unstoppable. And in a world addicted to reaction, the one who responds with intention becomes unstoppable. That's what mastery looks like. Not louder, not faster, not more frantic, but still calm, clear, aligned. You don't need to prove your strength to the world. Your composure will do it for you. You don't need to announce your progress. Your presence will declare it. You don't need to shout your power. Your discipline will whisper it in every room you enter. Because when you control your mind, everything changes. Your time becomes sacred. Your standards rise. Your relationships deepen because you stop needing others to fill the void you've already filled within. You stop being pulled in 100 directions because your purpose becomes magnetic. You stop seeking approval because your own becomes enough. And that's the paradox. The more control you have, the less force you need. The world bends for the person who knows where they're going. It moves for the one who's already moved inward. It follows the one who's already led themselves. But don't confuse stillness with passivity. Stillness is strength under control. It's fire that burns steady, not wild. It's the mountain that doesn't shake when the wind howls. You build that by choosing your thoughts like you choose your friends with discernment. You don't let just anything in. You guard your mind like a kingdom, because it is. You are the gatekeeper. You are the architect. You are the sculptor of your own reality. And yes, there will be setbacks. There will be days your mind rebels. There will be moments when the old scripts sneak back in. I'm not enough. I always fail. This is too hard. And in those moments, you don't panic. You don't give in. You return. Return to the breath. Return to the vision. Return to the truth. Because the truth is, you were never broken. You were just buried. Buried under noise. Buried under doubt. Buried under years of mental clutter and emotional conditioning. But the real you, the powerful you, has always been there, waiting, watching, ready to rise the moment you decided. And if you're still listening now, then that moment is now. Not tomorrow, not when life slows down, not when conditions are perfect. Now, here, in this breath, in this choice, because the greatest control you'll ever have is the control to choose your state. And from that state, build your day. And from that day, build your life. And from that life, build your legacy. That's how empires are born. That's how destinies are rewritten. That's how average people do extraordinary things. They master one thing, the mind. And through that mastery, they unlock everything else. So the question is not, can you do it? The question is, will you take control or stay controlled, because you can't serve two masters. Either your mind obeys your vision or it obeys your fear. You either train it or it trains you. There is no in between. And every moment, every thought, every breath is a vote for the person you're becoming. So vote with courage, vote with clarity, vote with every fiber of your being for the life that calls you, not the one that numbs you. And don't stop, don't pause, don't shrink to fit comfort. This world doesn't need another distracted soul. It needs leaders. It needs light. It needs you fully alive, fully focused, fully in command. So rise. Train your thoughts like you train your body, with consistency, with intention, with discipline. Build a mind so clear, so anchored, so unshakable that nothing external can move it. Not failure, not rejection, not delay, not doubt. Let every thought you choose be a building block. Let every act of discipline be a vote for greatness. Let every moment of stillness be a signal to the universe that you're ready, truly ready to lead. Because once you control your mind, you control your emotions, you control your habits, you control your destiny. And that's real power. Now go and claim it. You control your destiny, not in grand declarations, but in quiet decisions. The decision to wake up early when your body craves sleep. The decision to say no to the old version of yourself again and again and again. The decision to sit in silence when the world screams for your attention. These choices, they don't feel monumental in the moment, but stack them, repeat them, multiply them across weeks and months, and they become a revolution. That's the paradox of mastery. It never feels like glory. It feels like routine. It feels like resistance. It feels like doing the simple things with ruthless consistency while the world chases sparks and shortcuts. The mind loves shortcuts. It craves the path of least resistance. And that's exactly why most people never break through, because the path to power doesn't look powerful. It looks ordinary. It looks like a journal, a walk, a hard workout, a long silence, a plan followed even when it's boring. But do it long enough, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. That's the secret the masses never discover. They want results, but they resist repetition. They want the crown, but they won't carry the weight. They want change, but not the discipline that sustains it. But not you. You're here because you understand that control is not an event, it's a lifestyle. It's not a switch, it's a system. And once you install that system in your mind, the world begins to bend to your rhythm.